We have a lot of reasons to be afraid today. So what do we do with it? How does our fear and our perspective on the world inform our decisions when it comes to what we do with our money? And will this year be incredibly rough for us financially? Let's talk about it. First off, why people think that we're doomed. Well, we're on our way out of a global pandemic, but it's still here. Some places still have restrictions, and that means restrictions on overall commerce and money moving around and people doing the stuff that they normally did that drove business. There's international conflicts happening that you're well aware of that have negative implications on world economies, including our own. Inflation is way up. Like, we're talking 7% up, which means the price of everything that we're buying, from cars to socks to mangoes, is also way up. In January, consumer prices were up 7.5% as compared to last year. That's a more expensive mango for sure. And in response to rising costs and inflation in general, companies are passing those costs along to us. But we're proving to be willing to pay more for our everyday stuff because profit at the 500 largest companies was up about 50% over last year. Another reason is that overall wages haven't kept up with inflation, and that's a problem because it means that your buying power is less than it was before. We're also seeing what's called shrinkflation. Shrinkflation is when the amount or the quality of something that you're buying goes down, but the price goes up. It's a really sneaky way for companies to raise their prices or raise their profit margin without you knowing. Your box of cereal shrinks by 3 ounces or 10 ounces or whatever it is, but the price stays the same. They keep the difference and you pay for it. Sneaky. If you want to know more about shrinkflation, I made a video all about it, and that's linked in the description. There's also an increasing wealth gap, which means the rich are getting richer, but the poor are basically staying the same. On Wall Street, people are shorting the S&P 500 because they think that overall they'll make more money if they bet against the market. That's an extremely pessimistic view, and it's them being selfish to say, I'm going to get mine. Even if everything else collapses, I'm going to make my money. There's also a risk of stagflation. Stagflation happens whenever inflation rates are high, like they are right now, and at the same time, unemployment is high while there's slow economic growth overall. Just last year, our unemployment rates were still really high, and so we're potentially at risk for this. If the Fed doesn't handle this the right way, if they don't adjust the rates by the right amounts or at the right time, then stagflation could come roaring back like it did in the 1970s. Also, home and car prices are at all-time highs. It's really difficult to even find one, let alone buy one. I had some friends that were trying to put in offers on houses. They found one they liked, they put in an offer, and they didn't get the house, and there were 21 other offers on that same house. Crazy. I tried to order a brand new 2022 Ford Maverick hybrid truck to replace my F-150, and I couldn't even do it because Ford isn't even accepting orders. They have such high demand and such big backlog right now that they won't let you place an order for a vehicle. I'll have to wait until this summer to order a 2023 model to even get a truck. It's crazy. And of course, on top of all this, whenever you look at the finance news, experts are just preaching doom and gloom. Stock market crash, cataclysmic shift is here. That we're in a worst case scenario for the stock market. That the Federal Reserve is going to hike interest rates for 9 straight meetings, and that means terrible things for the stock market. And that we're entering the eye of the storm in the stock market in general. Whew. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there. But there's also another side to that same story. There's a positive side. There are people who are convinced that we're set up for better growth than ever. Those people are sure that things are going to turn around financially because, number one, retail sales are way up. As we've come out of the pandemic, we've saved money. We were probably spending less over the last couple of years, and now we're out and about. We're able to do stuff again. We're buying clothes. We're buying trips. We're doing everything that we wanted to do. Also, overall, wages are up. Yeah, inflation is super high, but people are seeing raises that they haven't seen in years. Also on the job front, opportunities abound for people who are looking for new jobs or who are wanting to switch jobs. Actually, I just got an email this morning from Morning Brew that was like a little summary of what's going on with the jobs market. It's incredible. Women in particular are getting big raises. Yeah, it says right here, in February, wages for women were up about 4.4% compared to 4.1% for men. And it says that it paid for women to make job changes because 31% of women who changed jobs during the pandemic reported a salary increase of more than 30%. Holy cow, 30% increases? That's nuts. And 28% of men who changed jobs during the pandemic reported a similar increase. Some people are making a lot more money now, which is awesome. I've also noticed that there's more opportunities within current jobs. Where I live in the Western United States, business is booming. It's incredibly busy. And so you can have an opportunity to get a higher role, like, hey, we need more help higher up. You can get that promotion, or you can work extra hours because we need overtime because we're short on people and it's so busy. So if you're hungry and you're looking to be able to do more within your current role, the opportunity is there right now. And in the stock market, yes, we are down overall. But people also see that as a buying opportunity. Remember the infamous quote by Warren Buffett? Be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. There's a lot of scary stuff out there right now. Let's not sugarcoat that. But if Mr. Buffett is correct, that means that we should be looking for opportunities, not sitting around doing nothing because it's scary out there. I think all of those different factors mean three things for us. One, people don't know the future. People never have, people never will. So we don't need to take the experts too seriously who are confidently predicting the future. This is for sure going to happen and it's good. Or that's for sure going to happen and it's bad. There's no way that they can be perfectly right all the time. Number two, there will always be reasons to doubt, to fear, and to hold back. But that hasn't worked very well in the past when it comes to handling money. In fact, a ton of the top companies today were formed during fearful times and depressions. Those people that started those businesses had to press on through the fear, through the current headlines, and start their companies anyway. And doing that gave them an advantage. And number three, fear is more of a black hole of energy and health than it is a useful partner. Both stress and fear contribute to a lot of our health problems, so we should focus on the things that we can actually control and influence in our life instead. Are you afraid of the future and what your financial life might look like if bad things continue to happen? What can you do about it today? Are you budgeting using my free spreadsheet? Are you investing and intentionally not using the apps that I listed as the worst investing apps for beginners in the video that I've linked in the description? If you don't want to invest, are you at least using something like a PrizeLink savings account to earn more interest on your cash savings than a traditional bank? Could you go through your house and sell stuff that you haven't used in a year or two to generate some extra cash? It counts twofold. Once as cleaning and once as a side hustle. Double whammy. Could you cut expenses by cooking at home? And speaking of cooking at home, could you take up gardening as a stress-reducing hobby and a source of amazingly fresh produce and herbs? That's like the one thing that makes me consider gardening is the fact that it's been proven to reduce stress, like by scientific studies like this one, and also because fresh herbs and stuff are so much better than like old, nasty, dried out ones you get at the store. It's a little bit tempting. I just don't like landscaping. So there are obviously a lot of actions that you can take to make your situation improve, even if they feel small relative to the big crazy news headlines. And if you want to keep thinking along those same lines, check out the book that I have linked in the description too. It's called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I just finished listening to it for the second time and I love it. I think it really calls out a lot of those fears and a lot of those like reactions that we have that are very negative, that aren't helpful at all, but that if we can realize that and then we can take action instead, then it really does stand to improve our life. And the book is typically cheap on Amazon or cheap on Audible. So even if you don't want to pay for it now, just wait for a sale or check it out at your local library. So will 2022 be a terribly rough year for us? Possibly, maybe, who knows? But the important thing for us to hang on to and think about is the areas that we do have control over and the areas that we can improve our life in. I personally am still investing in the stock market. I'm still saving money in my own PrizeLink savings accounts like in PrizePool and Yada. And I'm basically hoping that the powers that are way up there that are shaping the news headlines do a good job, that they are responsible and that they do seek peace. But in the meantime, my stress can't necessarily shape that kind of future. So my responsibility is to be here, to make videos for you, to love my family well, to do my job as well as I possibly can, and to keep going. Here's a quote that I got from that Obstacle is the Way book. That's by Marcus Aurelius. Objective judgment now, at this very moment. Unselfish action now, at this very moment. Willing acceptance now, at this very moment of all external events. That's all you need. It's tough, but I think it's good.